This is Things You Might Have Heard. I am Jay Liam Payne, and this morning I have for you 8 stories in the queue ready for you. Stories that you deemed as conversational, stories you apparently thought were good enough to talk about based on about 30 stories or so we gave you a chance to choose from. We'll go through the full iteration of how these stories got to be deemed as conversations by you and why these 8 are ones we're sending to you this morning. But I want to remind you right now about our website. This is theconversationproject.com, the home for the Conversation Project, which tells you who we are, what we are, the why we are, if you will. And you can email us with your comments, concerns, and all the chit chat you want to by going to your email machine, sending something to us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. If not said it so far, today happens to be Friday, the 18th of October, 2024. Beautiful day. It's going to be nice and crisp and cool here in Arkansas. And hopefully it's going to be nice and good weather where you are. The heat is starting to relay itself. And so we'll get into what really is fall. Hopefully you're enjoying some fall weather and not some of the severe weather in some places. Let's get into the news stories. As we said, 8 headlines for you that you deem as conversational. No particular order as I'll present them in just a moment, but we'll give you some context into how they got to be where they are and why they are here going forward in the listing. So let's start with story number 1, and we're going to get this off the bat. Right off the bat, because it may not be the largest story out there. There's another story of a new death that's causing some ripples across the world. Here's one that began 2 days ago, and we're starting to find out more details of the situation. And the situation gets sadder as more people are mourning the loss of Liam Payne. The 911 call made before his death says that he was breaking the whole room down before the fall. If you go to the website, click our link or go to various places, search for the story. People have acquired, I've listened to it on CNN, the 911 call, which oddly enough sounds like the chillest 911 call ever in the world. Nothing like we have here where things are basically in straight panic mode, where Liam Payne, who was in the middle of trashing a hotel room, and the people outside were basically speaking what's going on. We're talking about his hotel room in Buenos Aires. The staff was talking about he seemed to be overindulging in drugs. Things need to be going crazy. There was a balcony, so they were a bit worried about him. And then essentially he fell. Now, what they believe right now is that the fall was not voluntary. He did not jump. He fell just from the actions going on. He might not even have been conscious at the time. The actual cause of death is essentially blunt force trauma. You can look those things up. In all the melee of yesterday's coverage, one thing that got really, really, really bad coverage was TMZ, because one of the paparazzi was able to take a picture of the body at the floor, at the ground, as it was before it was taken care of. And that picture was live on the website for quite some time before a lot of people complained. TMZ very bad on the day yesterday. We're still seeing people with vigils all over the nation, all over the world. And One Direction, the remaining band members, are going to release another statement later. But right now, they're just saying they need some time to grieve for their lost brother. We all need a little time to grieve and kind of take this situation and just let this one sort of wash over us, if you will. Now, yesterday, the breaking news of a death yesterday, which has been all over the internets, and what turned out to be, if you started watching news in the middle of the day and you saw this face pop up on your news feeds and didn't understand what was going on, this is the leader of Hamas. His name is Yahya Sinwar, and he was killed by Israeli forces yesterday. But it wasn't some big massive operation. They just kind of snuck up on the guy and killed him. It was just that weird. The essentially a regular sweep of just general places found Sawir, and just a drone went in to look for him. He saw the drone in his bunker, let's call it a bunker, and just sort of threw something at him, was kind of running from it, and they killed him. And then they looked at him and thought, this guy looks kind of familiar. Like, it was just like that. They ran DNA tests and found that he was the leader of Hamas. He's the person basically called for the attack on October 7th a year ago. He is the mastermind behind the whole deal. And he's the man that people believe was hiding in caves. No one could find him. He's the one that have been working with negotiations for hostages, not very well, obviously. And he has now been passed. What happens when a big time bad guy gets killed? Everybody basically is all happy about it. We heard comments from both Biden and Harris, and some from Trump as well, and of course from Benjamin Netanyahu, who's still saying we're going to, defeat them to the last man, which is not quite the way things should be said right now. As everyone else is saying, now it's time to find some peace and get this thing over with. We'll see what happens, what vacuum there will be in leadership, and what vacuum there'll be in the world with this one hole that will be filled by something sooner than we like to say. Let's move on to another headline dealing with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris specifically and the election. The headline for story number 3, and we'll go deep retail with some other oddities about this one, but the Al Smith dinner was attended by Donald Trump in person, but not by Kamala Harris in person, although she sent a pre-recorded video for the session. Kamala Harris had already said weeks ago she was not attending the Al Smith dinner, which is a fundraiser for Catholic charities, which you wonder how Catholic charities can afford to pay billions of dollars in restitution. Apparently, because they have fundraisers with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris running for president. But this is a tradition that's gone back for decades for people running for president in presidential election years, where both the candidates show up. They sit there basically between the days, between the lectern, and they have chances to poke fun at themselves and at their opponents and the election going forward. Donald Trump showed up in person, and actually showed up with his wife, Melania Trump, one of the few appearances she has done with him in the past couple of years, literally the past couple of years, while he's done something officially campaigning. Kamala Harris, who was out campaigning for actual votes, she said earlier on that she was not going to attend this thing, even though Catholic votes as well. She did send a pre-recorded video with the help of Molly Shannon, which got some sort of jeers and some weird reviews. Donald Trump did his little monologue, which was actually kind of funny. Some of the big headlines with the fact that, you know, if you knew he was going to show up for someplace and wasn't going to have a candidate appear, they should just sent Joe Biden. And of course, the line that this dinner, this joke, this chance gives a person a chance to make a little fun of themselves and kind of show off, you know, have a person kind of talk about all that they really have that's lacking. Donald Trump was like, well, I have nothing lacking, so I don't have much of a joke, which got some chuckles for the room. Election about 19 days away, and then the real battle really begins. At number 4 this morning, here's an interesting take on what's going on and what's going down behind the scenes at CNN. The headline for the story, which we got from the New York Post, so take it with some grains of salt. CNN's Jake Tapper, Wolf Blitzer reportedly denied raises, while Chris Wallace asked to take a pay cut. Anchors at CNN, being Blitzer and Tapper, were reportedly signing new contracts. They are on the bill. They are stuck with CNN, or CNN stuck with them for a while, but they're maintaining their current salaries. No raises, no moves, nothing new into their paychecks going forward. Chris Wallace is asked to take a pay cut because it's not quite ready to take a new contract yet, but they're asking him to take a little bit off the top to help the coffers at the cable news network. Developments come as a broader changes at CNN under CEO Mark Thompson, who is focusing on cost-cutting measures. Cost-cutting measures is the number one thing. Negotiating anchor salaries one by one to keep the money down for the big-time guys so they can save money on cameras and lights and power. Decisions raise concerns among staff about potential cuts to top earners, to networks. The big thing is, where are you going to go? What you going to do? You're not going to Yahoo. You're not going to Scripps. You're not going to Fox. You're not going to Newsmax. In this current world of the cable news and news in general, I had some comments on some things we posted the past couple days where basically people are saying the news business is not much of a good business these days. There's no place else to go. There's no place else to actually renegotiate other things, because there's no, I mean, you can go online, you do the Don Lemon thing and be independent, but there's only so many Don Lemons can be out there, and even Don Lemon's having some issues apparently being Don Lemon. I guess I would follow Anderson Cooper and his steely blue eyes and his gray hair to wherever he's going to go. I'm not sure I'm following Wolf Blitzer or Jake Tapper, though. Right now, take a quick pause from the news to give you a chance to soak it in. 4 stories down, 4 more to go that you deem as conversational. We'll explain that whole part in just a moment. But one to get you to help us get more of the word out to folks out there like you, news nerds who want quick hits on news, a chance to see what other stories are being covered, even if they're not being covered heavily, and a little bit of commentary and conversation between us all. This is a conversation. It seems like a monologue, it seems like a show, but this is meant for conversation and for you to comment on what's going on. So, like the products we're doing, like the videos that we're producing, so more people see that we're kind of good. If you think we're doing okay, let people know, hit the like button and show people how what we're doing, or hit the mean emoji face on the Facebook if that's what you want to see, because you don't like it or you don't like a story particularly. Share the work we have with other folks out there so more people can see what's going on. If you know particular news nerds out there who love this type of stories, love these types of coverage, send it out there so they can get into it and they can enjoy it as well. And if you've been shared this to you or you stumbled upon it somehow and you're not subscribed, not getting this as a regular feature, just sort of showing up in your feed here or there, subscribe. Make sure you get this as it come to you, at least for this show, every single day. Things you might not know comes every single weekday morning, about 5:30 in the morning Central Time. So you can get these stories, 10 on Monday, 8 the rest of the week, and other features down the line in our feeds on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on Threads, on TikTok, all the things to do, all the things out there. Check us out. Let us know what you think by liking it so we know we're doing the right stories, sharing with folks who would enjoy what we have going on, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the minutes. Now, back to the news, back to reality, back to money talk, back to the WNBA, actually. We had a spot here yesterday. We talked about a player from the Liberty who was dealing with some not so nice words about her relationships. Here's some not so nice words Angel Reese is saying about the league, which will bring some not so nice words to her, but it also brings up a conversation that we've been bringing up all season long, and that's the money gap between the men pros and the women pros and how they have to make a living. Angel Reese is living beyond my means. A quote from her, as she says, her salary won't cover her rent. In fact, she makes $74,000 a year, which isn't bad for a young person coming out playing basketball, mostly for about 3 or 4 months. But her rent in New York, because she's a celebrity and she has to deal with celebrity things. Yes, she has to deal with different amenities and different security things and make sure that things are out there and just, be nice. $8,000 a month. And that's not actually out of the ordinary for just a general person in New York City. A lot of people who do things a lot less glamorous and make even less money pay $8,000 a month for rent. She says she's living beyond her means, more of a joke, if you will, but saying that her paycheck for the NBA, her main job right now, doesn't cover as much stuff as you think. Now, she technically had the options to make more money as a amateur with the NIL stuff with different deals. The biggest thing was everybody talked about the pay cut Caitlin Clark took when she went to her actual job, stepping away from her endorsements, things going forward. Sure, she has endorsements. Sure, she has other things. Angel Reese has other means of incomes, other way of making things going forward. But that don't think she's actually, broken, destitute. It's not like that. But the reality is, if she's saying outright her salary is $74,000, and one of these rookies that just got signed on, Bronny's making a couple $1 million, and he ain't that good, you got to kind of think about the financial challenges between the women pros and the men pros. We also had a story that was going to come in today. It got squeaked out by other things about the women's three-player league for the women. It now has a TV home, so sponsors will happen. It'll be on TNT coming soon. So that means they'll have some sponsors, they'll have some way to make some money for people who don't want to go overseas to play extra basketball, to make the extra money because they're not making a comparable living as the men do. And so they have side gigs, they do other things. We'll see if they can do more in the way of playing basketball and playing at home instead of just, having to go overseas and deal with the war zones that are happening out there. Let's talk about Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is a guy that I'm not going to say I don't particularly care for. I mean, I have no problem with. His pops was an issue, and his pops was an issue years ago. Lonzo Ball is apparently a better ball player than we actually get a chance to see. Biggest issues is injuries. His other two brothers, not quite as well, but people are singing the praises of Lonzo Ball's return back to the Bulls after missing nearly 3 years on the bench, or the IR to be exact, because of knee surgeries, multiples of them. He came back, played 15 minutes in a preseason game the other night in Minnesota, scoring 10 points on the 125-123 victory. So a great win. Ball, it was cheered on by the crowd, standing O for him coming back. We'll see if he can play well because they want to see him do well. And the Bulls are a legacy team. The Bulls are a legacy team. They're like the Lakers. They're like the Cowboys. They're those teams that everybody loves for whatever reasons, and maybe because of the heydays. The Chicago Bulls are a big-time championship team when they're winning, and a big-time money team when they're out there. So you want to see the Bulls play, you'll see some ball play ball, at least for a while this season. We hope he has a great full season, and the Bulls do well this season. Our number 7 story. Stellantis recalls over 21,000 Dodge Hornets, Alfa Romeos, and Tonale vehicles for brake pedal failure. So Stellantis has issued this recall. It's 21,000 Dodge Hornets, Alfa Romeos, Tonale hybrids, and SUVs due to the potential brake pedal failure. Yeah, I said that part already. But the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration, NHTSA, warned that the brake pedal could collapse, leading to a loss of braking function. Sounds bad? Is bad. So far, 15 incidents reported of those many cars they're going to take a look at. So they're going to look at how to take care of all of them. One crash linked to this issue as well. So to keep the crashes, the issues down, all these vehicles are being recalled in the U.S. and globally, prompting immediate repairs for this impacted owners. If you have one of these vehicles, call your dealership, get it checked out. Don't say, I don't have time for this. You best to make some time for this one. And finally, internet, don't let us down. James Blunt says he is telling us he will legally change his name to Blunty McBluntface if his new release tops the charts. Now, his new release is actually a re-release of his debut album, a reissue of Back to Bedlam, which brought him to prominence many years ago. So the singer says he will change his name from James Blunt, what his mama named him, to Blunty McBluntface if it makes top of the charts. No real word on how the numbers are right now. No, notion that it's actually going to happen. But if he can take this one back to number one, he says Blunty McBluntface will be his name henceforth. Will be on his passport, be on his checks. He will now be pledging the names and singing along with the songs, the melody singings of Mr. Blunty McBluntface. Bluntface, if he can make this happen. Social media, make it happen. Let's go to our teaser story now. This is a story that we use as a tease, but also a way to transition into tell you how we get our stories into the feeds and how we get our stories into the stories parts. There's things you might want to know things. Might want to know things. We give you 5 days a week. What we do is we have what we call feeds. I said that 3 times. So let's explain what the feeds actually are. The feeds are our links, our pages, our sections on Facebook, on X, and on Threads. Facebook.com/This Is Conversation Project, X.com, Twitter.com/TH_conversation, and on Threads, we're threads.net/@This Is Conversation. Why are these things important? Because the stories we talk about here aren't just randomly selected. Well, they kind of are. They're randomly selected, or they're curated, we said, throughout the day from various different websites, different news sites, various different places around the internet. What we do is we post them on our feeds, a new one every 50 minutes or so that you get a chance to engage in them and see what's going on. News these days is not exactly linear. Things can take time to catch on to be real stories. Things that we think are hot may take a while to turn into something people care about. And of course, we don't sit around at the 6 o'clock news waiting for Walter Cronkite to give us everything and then take it all in one swoop. So as you check your feed all day long for what other people are doing, because we do that, we're addicted to the phones, check out the Facebook, check out the X, check out the Threads, and engage in the stories that look interesting to you, or look bad to you, or look good to you. Like them, love them, hate them, share them, read them, click the emoji face, engage in them more as much you want to. And the higher engaged scores get a chance to be picked for the day. 10 for Monday, 8 for Tuesday through Friday. Now, this story will have to last a whole lot of stories because it'll have to be a top 30 story from the weekend, over 90 stories posted for the weekend. But we think this one, because we all missed some Tay-Tay news, will actually have a chance to get a run come Monday. Taylor Swift wears Fazit Freckles to Chiefs game, boosts sales by 3,500%. So a tailor, if you will, of a boutique brand of a jewelry gets the Taylor Swift treatment, and a whole lot of stuff are now wearing her product because they saw her wearing it at a game. You want to go deeper into how business works, how influence works, and how a person with really influence can make things happen and try to sneak in, see your wares to Taylor Swift next time? Check this one out. We had for a teaser story yesterday, the Casa Bonita story about the cast and crew unionizing to kind of deal with stuff. And this is not the movie crew, actually. It's actually the crew that works there. So the mystery of Casa Bonita will not be addressed here, at least not yet. We shall see going further. I don't understand it. I may never understand it, but if you do, you can email me and explain it. But follow us on our feeds. Let us know if this story is one you want to talk about come Monday morning. 10 stories from the top 30 or so that we'll have of 90 stories we'll go through, printing you out to adjust to all weekend long. Let's talk about our spotlight sponsor for the day. That sponsor happens to be the Blinkist app. All week we've talked about how Blinkist can get you the knowledge that you're looking for in the way of books. Books are awesome. Books are a nice time capsule of information that lives more or less forever until you might update the book or write something else on it, or if you go and disclaim it, write something else on it. Blinkist gives you a chance to read books, literally read books or read summaries of books in about 15 minutes, or listen to them in audio version. Condensed books, bite-sized summaries called Blinks that gives you the perfect pairing for knowledge on the go. Over 6,500 nonfiction books are in their kitty right now, and more going every single day. And you can get a chance to learn more on the go, anywhere, anytime. And the biggest thing Blinkist has is something they call the Blinkist Spaces. That's where you create a space, you share a book, and you and other people who don't even have to have the app can talk about the blinks in that particular update. It's simple. Audio and text options for everyone to read or listen to on the go when they have time. Check it out using our affiliate link because we can use the help. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist. This is theconversationproject.com/Blinkist, Blinkist. Oh, by the way, they're offering 60% off their discount prescription. I'll say prescriptions, premium subscription right now. 6% off their discount off that subscription right now. And it costs you nothing extra. If you use our link, we just get a small piece of your first initial buy. So check it out today. The Blinkist app will get you caught up in all those books that you are behind on at the moment. Trust me. Take a quick moment to also promote the Conversation Project by talking about the Conversation Project. It lives online at this is theconversationproject.com, our website, our home where the stuff is kept for the Conversation Project. Check out the website and find out more about us, a whole lot about us. We have the origin story, if you will, on how we got here, a few different lives, a few different iterations to get to where we are today. But hopefully what we're providing you is good stuff. And if it's good stuff, we ask for your help. We're asking for you to do a couple things. Number one, consider being a partner. And we'll talk more about partners in a moment, so we'll give more swag to that one. And number two, consider stopping by more of our sponsors that cost you nothing extra. All our sponsors are affiliate links that cost you nothing extra. We get a small commission from the buy. The biggest thing we're asking you to do is to be engaging. Let us know what we're doing. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on the feeds. Let us know what stories to talk about, because we get more people in the conversation. There's less asking for help. The help we'll keep asking for is just stay in the conversation. Things like that. That's all we're looking for mostly, but we really need you to be engaged with us. Go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. Follow us on our feeds. Email us when you can with your comments and your concerns. We will work out as many things as possible. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. I am Jake Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of what we had going on. We only got 4 days out of this week. Last week was a bit of a challenge. This week, not so much a challenge. We still had one tiresome day where we had to kind of rest up and go through it. We'll be back to full strength, we're pretty sure, next week, and we're including a weekend show like normal tomorrow. So we'll prepare for that one. The weekend show called the weekly roundup. We'll take 12 stories that we talked about this week and remind you of what news you might have missed in the weekend. Look for that in the feed where you're watching this one right now, because it should come down to you sometime Saturday morning, sometime when not quite the wee parts, but early morning, right before lunchtime, you'll see the weekly roundup. That's a good thing there. Quick talk about our sponsors, or our partners, we say. So we have them open Fridays, and that's what we're doing. Cup of coffee level sponsors. These are $5 sponsors. These are our partners, should say. These are Harold Braxton, Colby Green, and Elton Kidd. And our spare change, it's $1 a month, but that dollar adds up quickly. Spare change sponsor Joy Winters. Go to our website. This is a Conversation Project, and click on the partners page. This is a conversationproject.com. Says partnerships, and consider being a partner and helping us out. Further for details. With that, we're going to wrap it up for today and just be done for all of it. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday, October 18th, 2024. We are about 19, 18, somewhat not many days from the election, just a few weeks away, and then we'll start doing the real sort of commiserating going forward. Will it be Harris? Will it be Trump? Will it be Stein? Yeah, it won't be Stein. But we're going to see what's going on and see how the shenanigans will start playing out, even as close as now. But so cross your fingers, say some prayers. We're almost through this, and we'll see what happens in the future there. And in the future of news covering other stories, because even though Harris and Trump are the bigger stories, there are other things to cover, and we'll do our best to make sure we cover as many of them per your engagement, per your consideration, things you consider are most conversational. Thank you guys so much for being a part of our program and helping us out. Love you so much. Mean it. More things you might not have heard coming to you straight up Monday morning.